Hey, welcome back. This is part 2 in a series of videos on how to hold the bass while seated on a stool. Quick review of part 1, which was just getting you to set up holding the bass. First, you want a stool so that you can reach the floor easily with your right leg. Foot should be flat on the floor. Left leg, I'll move the bass so you can see, up on a rung so that the top of your leg is parallel to the floor. I highly suggest using an end pin anchor rather than a standard hockey puck rock stop. For this, you start the bass about here with the bass up and down, lead it in towards your body with roughly a 60-degree angle here. Some people set up a little bit differently, but this works for me and is a fairly standard way to set up. In this segment, we're going to talk about using the bow. So I'm going to grab my bow, and this stuff is the same for French bow or German bow. If you'd like, I have some videos on how to hold the German bow or how to hold the French bow. I'm not going to really talk about that much here, except to say that what we're doing really is basically the same for either style of bow grip. When you set up the bass, it's very important that the height is appropriate so that when your shoulders are square and your arm is relaxed, you can reach to the bow line or to lane 3, which is that space halfway between the fingerboard and the bridge, without having to dip your shoulder to reach. If you're having to dip your shoulder to reach that spot, then you need to adjust the bass, either bringing the end pin up or moving the end pin in a little bit closer to yourself so that you can comfortably reach that spot. I would use the D or the A string to see if that's the case. Sometimes the G string, you need to tilt the bass a little bit further in. For the E string, sometimes you need to tilt it a little further out. We'll talk about that in a moment. So when you take your bow, you get your bow hold, you relax your arm, you're reaching to the bow line. You need to be able to relax. If I'm using a German bow, I'm getting my weight into the string by hanging my arm off of the bow through my thumb. There's a lot of weight in that, and it's really just from relaxing my arm. If I'm using a French bow, I'm really going to be hanging a little more off of my index finger, the thumb, acting as a counterweight. So I've got this little bit of twist or pronation coming in towards my index finger, and I'm still hanging off of the bow. What you never want to do is get up above the stick and push down. Relaxing, letting your hand hang off the stick, letting the weight of your arm sink into the string through your bow. French bow, most of the weight is going to transfer through your index finger, with the thumb acting as a counter lever to twist towards the string. On a German bow, you're going to let the weight of your arm sink in through your thumb, with this part of your hand doing the job that the thumb is doing in the French bow. Arm is relaxed, weight in the string. I pull a nice full bow, get a nice thick tone without having to dip my arm to reach to the bow line. If your arm is relaxed and you're only getting to here, that's the best sound you're going to get. It's really important that your bow reach down to that bow line so you can get a full, rich, basic tone when you're playing your open strings. Some things to bear in mind about the way you hold your instrument while bowing. With a German bow, this is more of an issue than with the French. When I go to play my E string, that's a problem. The French bow, since it's an overhanded grip, you have a little more clearance and the leg isn't as much of a problem, but it can still be a problem running into your leg when you play the E string. The solution to this varies for me depending on how long I'm going to be playing on the E string. If I'm just going to be playing on the E string for a note, I'll take my left leg, I'll just drop it out to the side. I can play the E string all the way to the tip. When I'm done on the E string, bring my knee back up, and I continue to play on. If I'm going to be over on the E string for a long time, I will take instead of just dropping my leg, because that takes the instrument really far away from my head here, which is okay for a note or two, but I don't want to be playing like that for a long time. So if I've got a passage that's pretty much the E and the A string, what I'll do is I will take my legs together, and I can do this without my hands. Here, here. So I'll use my knees and my legs to actually change the angle of my instrument. I'll get a little bit more behind it. If I'm going to be playing on the E and the A strings a lot and I really need that full range of motion, then I actually turn the instrument, I come a little more behind it. When I'm done, I'll turn the instrument back, and that way I solve the problem of running into my leg. I definitely want to turn the instrument back though, because even for a guy my size, and like I said in the first video, there are some people who like to hold the instrument facing forward like a cello. I find that to get on the G string, I really build some tension here in this part of my shoulder, and when I'm going high and I need to get my bow right down by the bridge, I have to dip my shoulder more than I like to. So if I have the instrument tilted more like this, and it's much more comfortable for me to reach my bow down here near the bridge, which is what you need to play these really high notes. You've got to get down here. So that's the reason really why I prefer to have the angled bass hold versus the straight ahead bass hold, because to play those high notes, I just find this less comfortable for my bow arm, particularly getting out towards the tip. There's a lot of strain here. When I do like this is so much more relaxed. I'm hanging off the bow, and I can reach right down to the bridge. So you're going to have to experiment with that and see what works for you. So I think those are really the main things. You want to make sure you're holding your instrument securely. You have to be able to reach to at least the bow line with your shoulders square, your elbow relaxed. Relax your arm. For German bow, you hang off the thumb. French bow, you hang off the index finger. You don't want to reach up and push. For German bow, you don't want to reach up and push. Hanging off the bow to get your weight. So hopefully you found this helpful. If you did find this video helpful, please remember to like the video, leave me a comment, and subscribe to my channel.